Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
BrainShare Business Mentors proudly presents BrainShare.us, the ultimate business education platform, delivering the proven systems, processes, tools, and knowledge that empower you to build the business of your dreams. With 13 high-powered courses encompassing over 240 lessons accessed online on your schedule. Running a business is the hardest thing you'll ever do. We've helped thousands of business owners gain the leadership, communication, and business skills needed to build the business of their dreams. We can help you. Choose your learning path. Scuba Squad is the premier membership program for today's business leaders with access to all BrainShare material and double our money-back guarantee. BrainShare Basics, the ultimate business framework course, a hard-hitting 13-week program to lay the necessary foundation to build the business of your dreams. Or take individual courses as you need them. Every course has dozens of lessons, with video, practical exercises, precise documentation, and the opportunity for direct feedback from a BrainShare mentor. All programs have our exclusive 30-day money-back guarantee. No questions asked, don't wait. Choose your path and start today.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. Doing business in life with a purpose, serving others, and yes, achieving success. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. We created this show for you because we want everyone to be motivated, inspired, and educated to make an impact in your world. As you listen to this incredible guest, and boy, you guys are going to get some great information. I want you to think about how you will serve today. Go out and do that. And then what impact will you create with that service that you serve today? I want to thank my two sponsors, BrainShare.us, drive business success and sustainability with BrainShare Business Mentors, where your business flourishes and your vision comes to life. Check out the link in the show notes after we're done. PitchDB.com. Imagine being a guest on over 3 million podcasts potentially, speak at over 18,000 conferences, and much more. Build your thought leader platform with incredible opportunity to show who you really are. With that being said, impact, we're going to cross over two industries here, mental health and finances. And as we were talking, me and Larry before the show, they're tied together so much. So Larry, welcome to the show.
Hey, Steve, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Pleasure to be here.
My pleasure. Let's start with that story you were telling me in the green room before the show.
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of serving the National Board for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention for about 14 years. I still serve on their Investment and Finance Committee. But one of the things that one of the most impactful things that I was able to experience in my my time there was learning about two gentlemen. There was a gentleman by the name of Kevin Berthia, who unfortunately was having some struggles and decided one day to go out on the Golden Gate Bridge, and he was thinking that it was the last day of his life. And unfortunately, that was the case for him. But fortunately, there was an officer by the name of Kevin Briggs that ultimately ended up saving Kevin Berthia's life. And when he ended up coming over the railing and back on the good side of the bridge, the safe side, obviously he was taken away for medical attention, and they weren't able to have a conversation. And I was in the room at what we call the Lifesavers Gala, which takes place every May. And it was about 7 or 8 years after this event took place. And unbeknownst to the two gentlemen, the two Kevins, they were both brought to New York, not knowing that the other one was there. And we were in the room. and had the pleasure of seeing them being reunited for the first time. And it was one of the most impactful experiences that I've ever had to be able to witness around mental health and a police officer saving a person's life.
Got goosebumps right now, and I had it before. You brought him back with the same story, and it's so great how these humans can do so much good if we just think forward that way. Finances and health and mental health. You know, you'd ask where we want to go. I think both ways. What do you see the bridge there between both those?
I think they're, inevitably intertwined. And I would also add that there's probably a third component. You have mental health, you have financial health, and then you have physical health. And I think those three areas of our lives are so intertwined. And if we're deficient in one area, it really throws that proverbial stool off and you have an issue. It's very hard to think about yourself from a financial standpoint or your physical health if your mental health's not there, or vice versa. If you don't have your physical health, it's hard to think about money, and they're all inevitably intertwined. So it's very important that we as people make sure that we're spending enough time, effort, and energy addressing all those areas. It's not just enough just going to the gym and working out. We also have to work out mentally, and we also have to do some of that financial work as well.
It can be heavy lifting and listening to. For me, it's not, because I live in that world and we've talked. But what's a tip you could give somebody going, oh, that's a lot of stuff going on. Where do I start?
Yeah, I subscribe to, and I don't know if you're familiar with Dan Sullivan and Strategic Coach and Who Not How. I think I prescribe to that quite frequently in terms of, if you can't do it, figure out a who that can. So for instance, on the financial side, if it's not something that's in your wheelhouse, find a who that can, who knows how and can guide you and lead you in that direction. If it's coming down to your physical health and you don't know how to address that, maybe you go look for a trainer or online YouTube channel that could help you get into physical shape. And then mental health, listen, I think that's an area that most of us don't know how to address very well. And there's nothing wrong with going out and, either scheduling some time with somebody, either virtually in person, to have those conversations, or just going on to like a talk space online and creating an appointment there to talk through that. And, I think oftentimes people think about, reaching out for mental health and it's something that they're going to have to do for the rest of their lives. Not necessarily. As long if they can learn the tools and get the resources that they need to address that mental health, they may just need to learn how to cope and how to handle the situation, and that might be good enough for them.
Thank you, Larry. I love that you said that. Really love it, because I did that a couple of times. I've gone out and talked to somebody. Now I have that shame. I have no problem telling people, because it was the best two multiple sessions that I ever did. It helped both situations. So I'm glad you said that, because don't be fearful. It's one-on-one. It's not going out to the world, but at least talk to somebody. And maybe it's not a counselor, therapist, or whatever, but talk to somebody. I love that. What's interesting that I love about you, and I keep saying I love because I love what you do, is I know a lot of financial advisors, but you bring the mental health part of it in. I think that's important. How do you do that? I'm a client of yours. We're talking finances. How do you incorporate the mental health part of that?
Yeah, so I mean, that's not as easy. It's not as easy as it sounds, right? But I think what separates us a little bit, and I don't know that we're always checking in with people's mental health as a proactive, because that's a very personal thing. But at the same time, they know my background. They know that I lost my brother-in-law to suicide and that I am an advocate in mental health, in the mental health arena. So what that does is, by promoting that and putting that out to the universe, it makes people feel comfortable that if they're having an issue, they're having a concern, they're going through an event, they know that I'm not going to judge them. They know that I'm somewhat of a safe place that we can have that conversation. Kind of dovetailed into that, we do work with families quite a lot. And, in line with this show, we don't talk about the people we work with as clients. We talk about them as families that we serve. So the families, excuse me, the families that we serve, many times we're talking to them not only about the financial aspects of their goals, but we're also talking about the mental and social impacts of those goals. For example, if you're of the ilk that you want to retire at a certain age, that's great. I don't necessarily believe in retirement. I think it's an old construct that doesn't and shouldn't really exist anymore. But there are people that, have it in their mind's eye that they want to retire at a certain age, and that's perfectly fine. But what we get them to start thinking about, and some of the questions we ask them, are beyond the financial aspects of things, because that's what we're known to do. That's what we're supposed to be doing for them. We also talk to them about those mental and social aspects. Well, what are you going to do with these 40 plus hours a week that you're now going to inherit once you stop working? Is it a good idea for you to go from working 40, 50, 60 hours a week to zero? Or instead of going cold turkey, should you think about doing a phased in retirement and slowing that down? Do you have enough hobbies that are going to take up that time? Do you have enough of a community outside of work, right? Because we build up these great communities in the office. We're there so many hours, and then when we leave there, maybe we don't have that community outside of those walls of the office. So we get them starting to think about those areas, so that if they slow down, if they retire, whatever their goals are, that they're making the best use of that time possible.
You go above and beyond. That's what I'm hearing, which is really cool. It's just not, hey, Steve, you got $100 million. And you got here's your portfolio.
You're good.
You're good. Yeah. Every quarter we're going to, hey, you're good. Every quarter you're good. There's more to it. And I love that. Mindset sounds like kind of a lot what you do. You might not say, hey, Steve, let's talk about your mental health, but my mindset with money. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, mindset is very important. And sometimes people have great mindsets that'll work very well in framing a plan and working with them over time. Sometimes people have horrible mindsets in terms of, and many times it's as a result of whatever they saw growing up and how their parents or grandparents dealt with money, what the money stories they were hearing growing up. And if they're good, you just want to make sure you reinforce that and kind of double down. If they're bad, not necessarily the greatest money stories, then you want to kind of work with them to start thinking about things maybe a little bit differently. And it could be as simple as, seeing their parents never making an investment and keeping all their money in the bank at a fixed rate of interest, which may have been okay for them, but for this family, it may not work for them if they have specific goals. So it's a matter of kind of working through those pros and cons. And it's not something that's done or accomplished overnight, but over time, you can work towards, updating the mindset. I don't like saying change, but updating their mindset to something that's, more in line with where it should be based upon their goals and objectives, rather than taking their parents or their grandparents' mindset and then just layering it on to what they're doing, because many times that's not going to work or be worthwhile for them.
It's very real too, because not only just finances, but schooling, your career is all tied to your history, your grandparents, your parents, and all that. It's so powerful that you do that. I want to jump to something personal. And I told you I can't wait to hear the answer to this. But you had a nickname when you played hockey. What was that nickname?
Yeah, so I don't know. Do you know what it is already, and you're just asking me to say it?
I have no idea. Okay. I'm very curious.
I'm wondering. I'm kind of wondering how this might have gotten out there. But yeah, so my my nickname throughout high school was Goon. That was my nickname playing hockey. I was a defenseman. I was offensive, but I also liked roughing it up if need be. So I didn't take. I took things quite personal out on the ice, and I wasn't afraid to mix it up if we needed to, or to get the team going if we had to do that.
So what's the movie with the three goons with the long hair with the glasses?
Oh, Slapshot, one of my favorites. Paul Newman.
Yep, I was thinking Paul Newman.
The Hanson brothers.
The Hanson, thank you. That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
What is the one consistent mistake people make with finances, that easy or not, that they can change or update?
I think very simply is most people don't have a plan. I think people are going on in life somewhat haphazardly. when it comes to their financial situation. And many times it's really not a lot of fault of their own. It's just that, you think about it, we get busy. We have a lot of things going on in our lives, and sometimes this gets overlooked. So I think, having a plan is probably one of the most overlooked things. I talk about this a lot in my book, Financial Planning Made Personal. And I keep kind of going back to this: have a game plan, have a plan in place, have a guiding light to help you go through your financial life. Nowadays, not one of us would get in the car and drive cross country without having Waze, Google Maps, or Apple Maps at our side. So why are we going through our financial life and not having that same roadmap, if you will? And I think that's what gets overlooked a lot of times, because it's somewhat scary, it's somewhat unknown. But if you can't do it on your own, that's fine. Find a who, like us. We can work with you to design and develop that plan. And again, it's not something that's going to happen overnight, but over time, you'll feel much more comfortable. And I would also say the earlier you do that or start that process, the better. Because if you think about it, and you're not thinking about this when you're in your 20s, but your life just gets more busy and more complicated as you age, right? You're young out of school, you have a lot of time, you might be working a lot, but you don't have a mortgage typically. You don't have a spouse, you don't have kids, you don't have parents who are aging that you might have to care for. You have all these pulls as you get older. The earlier you start in this process and start working towards your financial goals and having that roadmap, much better off you are going to be long term.
You must have read my mind. I was just going to ask you, what age should you start? Because I challenge younger people. Like, I started at 18, and I was told that we owned health clubs. And the one guy, financial advisor, said, read The Wealthy Barber, which is still out there if you guys want to read. It's a short book. Basically, it says take 10% of your income and put it in the bank. Yeah. And why I love what you said, I followed your advice. I didn't even know you, but I followed your advice. I had $68,000 in 10 years in that bank account. I thought I won the lottery.
Right.
So it does work. Now, on the flip side of age, money. Somebody says, hey, Larry, I got $5,000 in the bank. I can't make a plan yet. Is that correct or incorrect, and why?
I think that's incorrect. I mean, I think, that mindset there for that person is, I don't have enough money to plan for. But the reality is, what happens if you're not utilizing your income? Maybe there's a lot of leakage in your income that you could be either saving more or paying down more debt more quickly. So the whole idea is have that game plan. Your game plan may not be to invest more. It may be to focus on other areas of your life. So I think people, when they think about advisor, that's immediately investing, not necessarily planning. And it's always a good time to have a plan. Just because you have $5,000 in the bank doesn't mean if you didn't have a plan, you may not have had 10 or 15. Or be in less debt. So there are definitely some positives to starting that, even at any kind of savings or income levels.
Yeah. And back in 78, when I started this Wealthy Barber journey, I was making $4 an hour. So was I making, maybe $500 a month? But I just took $50 and threw it in the bank, and we don't have to get in on that, because that's where they're going to reach out to you and find out about compounding, how the power of that and many other things. This segues. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just share a story that I have in my book. So, a lot of people, especially my age now, their kids are either entering or going into or already in college. And, a lot of questions around college savings. And, one of the stories I tell quite often is I opened up a 529 plan, a college savings plan, about 3 or 4 years before my son was even born. My wife and I, we were together. I knew we were going to have kids. I was pretty confident about that. So we started a plan. Wasn't putting a ton of money into it, but I was putting enough. And then it got 20 plus years of growth out of it. And now that I'm using it for my older son, 75 cents on every dollar that I'm pulling out of that account is growth. And only 25% or 25 cents on every dollar is actually money that I put in. So that's where that, as you mentioned, that compounding comes in and is very, very helpful.
That's a great story. Wow, that's powerful. And the other thing I hear, and then I want to ask, is just take action. If it's $50 or $50,000, right?
100%, 100%. Listen, we were talking about old adages, and one of them is,
Yeah.
the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
you don't want to be in that position 20 years later that you should have put away 50 or $100 a week. Do it now. Just do it. Figure out what you can afford. And like you said, I think, and I have a chapter dedicated to it in the book, pay yourself first. We're so quick to pay everybody else, and not for nothing, we're the most important people in our own lives. So why aren't we paying ourselves first? Take out the 10%, put it aside, fill your retirement accounts, your emergency savings, those areas that you need to beef up your savings in, and then use the other 90% to live on. It's amazing what you can do after putting that 10% and designing your life in a way to live within that 90% remaining. Because if you wait to figure out and leave what's left over, I could virtually guarantee in most cases, there will be nothing left over because you're going to go out and enjoy it, spend it, and there's not going to be any room to save anything.
Yeah. If it's in front of you, you're going to spend it. If I give you $100 in your hand, you may go out and spend it. But I put $100 somewhere where you can't see it, it's probably going to stay most of the
Agreed.
time. God, this is so powerful. I want to segue into the book. Why did you write the book? We've got some great stories you already told us. What's the goal with the book?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just to educate. I for the most part, over about a decade or so, got sick and tired of hearing so-called experts go on, some of the major news stations and financial stations and basically say, everybody should be doing this or everybody should be doing that. And that doesn't work. Everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
As the book is titled, Financial Planning is Personal. It's very personal. What's going to work with one person for one person is going to work for everybody. And I got really sick and tired of hearing this, one size fits all, because it just doesn't work. So I really put it out there as an opportunity to share that it is personal. Don't listen to the pundits. And I think the second piece that I would share is, also a lot of advisors, what I call spend shame. So you go into them, they look at your budget, and then they start cracking down on you saying, oh, you go to that coffee chain and spend $5 a day. If you took that and put it in a Roth IRA in 40 years, you'd have another $15,000. Well, you know what? If you love the coffee and you have a plan and you budget for it and you can afford it, enjoy it. Get joy out of the life too. It doesn't have to be I'm putting everything away for retirement or I'm spending everything. And I lost my mom at the age of 47. She was saving for retirement one day and she never made it. And there's a good chance that unfortunately many of us aren't going to make it either. So there has to be a happy medium between, saving everything for somewhere down the road and spending everything on joy today. We got to have some joy and some savings, and we got to figure out what works for you and your family.
It's a powerful message. When I hear people tell me, hey, I'm living off mac and cheese every day and I've got $50,000 in the bank, you're not going to be, to me, I'm not going to be happy. Go out to dinner once in a while. And if they are happy,
I wouldn't have a
great.
smile on my face, but if they have a smile on the face, I guess it's okay for them. But for me, that's not going to cut it.
No. Joy is the most important thing. So you're called Goon. I'm going to get personal on you right now.
Yeah.
How did you meet your wife? I'm sure you didn't walk up when you first met her and go, hey, I'm called Goon. Probably wouldn't have been a good interact, but maybe you did. I don't know. How did you meet her?
Actually, we met online before meeting online was cool. We're going to be married 24 years this year, and we'll be together about 27 years. So you do the math. It was very early on in the internet days, but that's how we met. And, another great story is, my firm name is Mitlin, Mitlin, financial. And the way we came about that is I did not want a firm named after me because I wanted something that would last beyond my lifetime and wasn't tied to me because I'm only one piece. My stakeholders are the most important. They make me look great every day. So the way we came up with the name was, and this ties into the question about my wife, is when we met, we were reconciling why we were where we were. And it turns out her grandfather, Mitchell, which is the MIT, and my mom, Linda, the LIN in Mitlin, passed away literally within a few hours of each other. And then my wife and I met. So They were two incredibly great people, and we decided to use their names and have them live on in the name of the firm on a go-forward basis.
What an incredible story.
Yeah.
And their legacy lives on, and that's it's the universe is a beautiful thing. If you listen and look, the universe can give you some incredible opportunities. Well, we're coming to the end here. What's one piece of advice? Because couples are everywhere, married couples, let's use that. I'm a married couple. What's one tip you give them about their finances?
Yeah, be fully transparent, in terms of where you're at financially and otherwise. We hear it too many times, as you probably know and have heard, many times finance or money is, the root of divorce or conflict. And I feel like a lot of that gets reconciled and resolved as long as everybody's on the same page. Doesn't mean that one can't take the lead in paying the bills or one can't take the lead in managing the finances. But if that's the case, make sure that the other spouse is looped in, have regular conversations about it. I think it's so vitally important.
And it's a tip you hear a lot, but we got to keep hearing it over and over again. It's got to be mindset again. Let's just circle all the way back to mental health and mindset with finance.
We're like goldfish, Steve. 8 seconds, we forgot it. It's over.
I'm gonna remember that one. That's a good one.
Why do you think Twitter's so famous?
TikTok.
You throw something out there, or TikTok, 8-second video, and then you forget about it. So.
Oh man, that's so good. Well, Larry, this has been an incredible show. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it and enjoyed the time here. Thank you.
How can people get a hold of you?
Easiest and best way. I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can find me there and hit me up, or check out our website, Mitlin Financial, MITLIN financial.com. And if you're interested in kind of checking out the book, we have a free download of 2 chapters at financialplanningmadepersonal.com.
I jump on that because I'm going to do that right after this show, because I've learned so much. Again, incredible show. And I want to audience, I always educate you on this. My pad here has got a bunch of notes. Well, I'm just going to go back and use the forward and reverse buttons. I'm a married man. I'm going to use that 3 minutes he talked about communication and being transparent, and remind myself of that. Go back to it. Me and Larry would love for you to watch the whole show and listen to the whole show. If that works, love it. But I want to be a little different and go, if there's 5 or 6 minutes to change your life that Larry said something, a tip, a resource, a book, his book, or Dan Sullivan he mentioned, go back to that, because we want you guys to change your lives. We want you to make an impact in your lives, whether small or large that is. So take advantage of those tools with the YouTube and the podcast platforms. Don't forget my TV show, Together We Serve, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on every Friday. I'll be here in a couple hours. Also, doing business with a servant's heart. Put it on your chest, put it on your head. Hats, hoodies, t-shirts. I want you to spread this message out to the world like I'm doing. Let's change the world using a servant's heart. And speaking for Larry and me, we thank you so much for listening and watching to this episode. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.